Hey there everyone, and welcome to my channel. Today is my 7-month no-buy update, and it's been a while since I have uploaded on here. So the first thing I want to talk about is all of the eyeshadow palettes that I've decluttered and gotten rid of in my collection. I have just learned what I like and what I don't like, and pretty much I hate warm toned eyeshadows. Not hate, I just feel like there's so many palettes with the same types of eyeshadows in them that I just can't justify keeping so many palettes with them in it. I do want to go ahead and tell you that I did destash both of my Anastasia Beverly Hills palettes, my Soft Glam and my Modern Renaissance. I know that my Modern Renaissance was part of my Pan That palette, so I just hated every time I pulled it out. I just didn't enjoy that palette, and I know a lot of people love that palette. I just didn't. So yeah, they both had lots of warm tones in them, and I just didn't need them. The next palette I decluttered was the Tartelette Toasted palette. Again, that palette is nothing but warm tones. The last video I did was a Shop My Stash, and I had it on in that video. And while the look was very pretty, I just didn't care for the orangey red looks on me. So, the next palette I decluttered was I'll go ahead and tell you. It was two Urban Decay palettes, the Urban Decay Born to Run and the Urban Decay Aphrodisiac palette. Both of those palettes, the Born to Run had lots of colors that I would just never use. I am not a colorful eyeshadow person. I know I'm not. And there was no point in me keeping that. And also the Aphrodisiac palette because it had warm tones again in it. The next palette I decluttered was the NARS Ignited palette. That one again had lots of warm tones in it. You're pretty much seeing a trend here that I just don't really care for warm tone eyeshadow palettes. I really like neutral leaning eyeshadow palettes, and I do have them. I actually wrote down here the palettes that I did declutter. So, and also I decluttered the Colourpop Misunderstood palette. Again, that one had a lot of colorful eyeshadows in it that I just did not love, and I think that was the last one. If there are other palettes that I missed, I will actually put them down below in letters or words. But that was pretty much all of them that I decluttered, and I feel so great letting them go. And I have not bought any makeup for 7 months, you guys. And for me to let go of eyeshadows, I'm pretty much refining and perfecting what I have to what I know I will use and love. So, I'm going to go ahead and show you all the palettes that I did keep. The first palette that I did keep is the Tartelette in Bloom palette. And this palette has such a great range of colors. It has cool tones, it has neutral tones, and it has warm tones. So if I do decide to dabble and play in warm tones, it does have it. And I do have on some of the warm tone shadows today, and I'm really happy with how the look came out. But I just love this palette. It's such a great all-around neutral palette. And there are some shades in there that I just absolutely love. That have some really good dips going in them, and yeah, so I just love this palette. The next palette I decided to keep was the Lorac Pro 3 palette, I think. And this palette has a great range of neutral leaning shades, maybe a couple of warm shades in there, but all of the shades are just very wearable everyday shades. And every time I wear this palette, I just love the looks. So I love this palette. It is beautiful. The next palette I kept was the Milani Bold Obsessions, and if you remember, I was panning this palette earlier this year. I did hit pan in this palette, and this palette, actually looking at it, it seems like it has a couple shades that are close to the colors in the Tartelette in Bloom palette, but I kept that one. I also kept the Wet n Wild Rosé in the Air or Rose in the Air palette. This one is supposedly a dupe for the Modern Renaissance or Soft Glam. I can't remember which one. But again, this is so affordable, and the shades are pretty good for this for drugstores. So I just didn't see the point in having the Anastasia palettes when I have this, and it's so easily and readily available to me and so affordable that if I love it, I can always go repurchase it. The next palette I kept was my Naked 3 palette, and this is it right here. It's got beautiful rosy tones in it, and every time I wear it, I really love my looks. And I'm going to tell you the palettes I kept that are depotted in my Tarte custom palettes. I kept the Dream Street palette by Colourpop. I kept the Milani Pure Passion eyeshadow palette and the Most Loved Matte palette. I also kept about 5 or 6 of the Wet n Wild Trios and 8 Pan palettes. They're all depotted and put in those palettes. So yeah, that is all the eyeshadows that I kept, and I feel like that is more than enough, and I will never get through them. So yeah. I am going to go ahead and tell you all my wish list items that I have in my Sephora cart, things that I have just been so wanting to get, and I have had them in there for pretty much the whole year. I've just really wanted these things in the cart, so I'm going to go ahead and open up my Sephora app here, and I will tell you what I have in there. Okay, so the first thing that is in my cart is the Natasha Denona Biba palette. I have heard so many great things about her eyeshadows, and yes, this palette's $129. It is expensive, but I feel like I want to reward myself with a really, really nice quality eyeshadow palette. And this palette looks like it has a lot of warm tones and cool tones and in-between tones. And the powder is supposed to be like cream to powder formula, so I am really wanting to get that palette. The next thing I wanted to get was the Laneige sleeping mask. I've heard so many great things about that and how it's so moisturizing, and I just really, really want to try that out. My lips are so dry right now. I have a matte lipstick on, and it's so dry. But I want to get that. I have the Kaja Beauty Bento Bouncy Shimmer Eyeshadow Trio. It's in the color Chocolate Dahlia, and it's supposed to be neutral cocoa shades, and I really want to try out their eyeshadows. Some of the shimmers, this one actually has 2 mattes and 1 shimmer. And the colors look just so, so beautiful and so neutral, and that's me. I love neutral browns and colors like that. And also the other thing that is in there is the Hourglass, I think it's Dim Light powder, if I'm not mistaken. It's the Dim Light, yeah. I'm not sure which one would look better on me, because I know there's one that's darker and one that's lighter, and I'm going to have to go look for swatches because I don't want to get the wrong color when I do get that. But yeah, that is my wish list so far for when my no buy is done, and I feel like I will be really happy if I get those items that is on my wish list. I feel like I have everything I need for the rest of the year. I have so many blushes and stuff that I really just don't need more. But yeah, that was my 7-month no buy update. I really hope you all enjoyed today's video. I hope I didn't bore you too much. But yeah, I'll be back this Friday with a empties video, which I don't have very many empty videos because it takes me a long time to go through makeup and skincare. But I do have some makeup and skincare that I did finish. So yeah, I will be back on Friday with that. Thank you all for watching, and I will talk to you all soon.